Hey, how's it going? Mike from LI Flies Mike, and as always, the full list of materials will be down in the description below. Today we're going to be using the Gamakatsu SL12S in size 2, and we're going to be using some monofilament thread. So today we're going to be covering a fly that we've talked about before in different videos discussing various flies for stripers and albies, but we're going to be tying the Jaime Boyle's BoylerMaker, so I've been waiting to cover this a while. Now, something I like doing on this particular fly is taking some Bill's body braid and wrapping a body on the inside. This is going to allow us to have a little bit of extra pearl, flash, and reflection on the inside underneath the easy body. So we're going to go ahead, tie this, and wrap this forward, leaving a slight gap behind the hook eye so we have some room to tie down our easy body. So speaking of easy body, we're going to be using some easy body in size small. Shout out to Bill from Easy Body for providing some of this for me to try out. And this has the nice lateral line, the dark defined lateral line down the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a section off here. And now what you've seen me do in the past is when we tied some of like the sand eel versions where we've gone the whole length of the body with the easy body. This time we're going to cut this to where it's about around twice the length of the hook shank. So we're going to have the hook go in here about halfway through. You want a considerable gap because we're going to be tying a flash tail. So you don't want this to be too long. You want it to be about twice the length of the hook, maybe a little bit less. And once we take our hook here, we can weave it through. We want to make sure the lateral scale stays on either side, but we can have our hook just go through the easy body here underneath on the belly side. Being certain, you can always take it and line it up first so you can get a good idea where you're going to be trying to poke the hook through. And once we do that, we can go ahead and tie this down, pinch the easy body so it doesn't slide on you, and then you can go ahead and wrap this down nice and tight. So once we've whip finished it, now we have our easy body secure, we can go ahead and start preparing our flash tail. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a healthy amount of either silver or gold Flashabou. That's usually the colors that he would use. But you can certainly use pearl, whatever colors you like. But I'm going to take some of this holographic silver flash here. By taking it and folding it and cutting it a couple times, ensuring that I leave it quite long, I can pinch the material here and then just kind of feed it into the easy body. Now, a little tip is I don't have one of these. I usually just suck the thread through, but if you have a bobbin threader, you can use a bobbin threader, pull the material through the bobbin threader, and then work it in that way as well. But I find it easy just to pinch it, get it nice and tight, and then try and feed it through the easy body. So once we feed that flash through the easy body up to where the bend of the hook is, we can go ahead and pinch it and wrap our thread here. It's important you wrap it pretty tight, and after getting the easy body in the rear secured, now that material is secured as well, and we can go ahead and work on the front section of the fly. It's a little bit tricky to work with it off the vise, but you'll get the hang of it over time. Just pinch the material, wrap as close as you can to your thumbs so the easy body doesn't bend on you, and then just throw some whip finishes in there. So now after resecuring the hook in the vise and tying our thread near the front behind the hook eye, we can go ahead and tie in our wings of craft fur or polar fiber. I think traditionally the fly used polar fiber if I'm not wrong, but the Rainey Select craft fur is virtually the same thing. They're both very high quality sort of wispy materials. So I'm using some Rainey's craft fur here, but I think the original called for polar fiber if I'm not wrong. I could be mistaken though, it might have been craft fur originally. Now the most important thing is we're tying in very sparse amounts. The belly section you can see here we're using white. For the white, I like it to go back to about where the thread wrapping is on our easy body. We don't want it to be too far back because we want that flash tail to breathe. And then for the top, you can take whatever colors you like. I'm taking some darker chartreuse here, and I like to have the darker color on top just be a little bit longer, as you can see. So maybe just touching the flash tail on the rear of the fly. So we can go ahead and throw a whip finish here, and I like to take my thumbnail and spread that material around a little bit, ensuring that the white's going to be covering the belly section and the chartreuse is covering the top. We still want to be able to see that lateral line down the side though. So now taking some super glue here and some stick-on eyes, I'm going to apply a little bit of super glue. I always do this with stick-on eyes just to prevent them from lifting off while using UV resin. But you can take the eyes here and fold them in half essentially and get them like bent, almost like a taco shape. That way when you put them onto the fly itself, the eyes are already kind of bent to the shape of the head that we're trying to build. And then once they're secured with the super glue, you can bend the eyes so that the adhesive kind of catches some of the material. The idea is we don't want the eyes to be perfectly flat because it's going to create a very large head on the fly. So now taking some medium UV resin here, traditionally the fly used epoxy, but we're going to take some medium resin here and just apply it to the eye, and being certain that some of the resin goes behind the eye. It's very tricky with the craft fur or the polar fiber. If you don't hold it taut, it'll catch the UV resin on your bodkin and start potentially ruining the front of your fly. So keep that craft fur taut while you're working that UV resin at the start. Otherwise, you could potentially catch some craft fur fibers. But the most important thing is you just want to make sure that resin fully coats the eye front and back. You don't want to go too far back, but just enough to where it actually touches the material. And you don't want a gigantic UV resin or epoxy head. You want the profile of the UV resin head to kind of flow with the material. So once we've got the UV resin head to where we like it, we can go ahead and take our light here and just slowly spin the fly as usual, and ensuring that all the UV resin is getting a nice cure from the light. By moving the fly as we cure it, we can ensure that we're not going to heat up one particular area too much. What you'll find is if you focus the light in one spot for too long, you could potentially heat up the resin and it can yellow. Well, there we go. That's the finished Jaime Boyle's BoylerMaker. And this fly, I believe, was originally developed for specifically fall fishing with blitzing fish and tons of bait. But you can certainly use this fly throughout the year. And not only makes a great just generic bait fish imitation, but it does make a good attractor fly because of the flash tail out the back. It's quite durable as well, and it doesn't foul very easily because of the easy body. It's quite stiff, the tubing, so it gives us this nice lateral line and this nice flash tail, but it doesn't foul very easily, which is very important when you're casting the blitzing fish. Alright, let's throw it in the swim tank and see what it looks like. So you can see that flash tail is the dominant feature in the fly. The easy body tubing looks great though, with the lateral scale as usual, and the thin wings of the craft fur or polar fiber add some additional action as well. But really the flash tail sticking out of the back of this fly is going to do a lot of the work, particularly when you're stripping it to blitzing albies or striped bass, for instance. Well, there we go. Again, the Jaime Boyle's BoylerMaker, a classic fly that I always enjoyed tying back in the day, back in the early 2000s. And I figured it was finally time to give it its time here on the channel. Well, my name is Mike from LI Flies Mike. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to all of our YouTube members and our Twitch subs, and to everyone who watches the channel here. The support means a lot, and without you folks, I couldn't do it. Well, fishing season's coming up. We have a bunch of different flies planned here on the channel, as well as more discussion videos for some striped bass fishing and spring fishing and things like that. We do have our spring fishing striper video though, so be sure to check that out if you're getting ready for the spring run. Well, my name is Mike from LI Flies Mike. We have new fly tying and fly fishing videos coming out every week, live fly tying on Friday nights, and early access for members. Thank you so much again for watching. Have a great season out there this year, and as always, tight lines.